Hello everyone and welcome back to Let's Play Hearts of Iron 4 Last Days of Europe with me, Alpha Omega, and Greater Germanic Reich. So in the last episode we have gotten to 100% influence, which is now overpowering, and I'm hoping that it's gonna have some kind of effect on our starting position in the inevitable fail of the Reich. But we'll see. So far, Hitler is still in the coma. We don't know anything about him or his situation. What we know is that something is going on in the Reichskommissariat in Norwegian, and we know that something is going on in Russia because things are moving there. I don't know. There are the things in the messages. Let's say that these conflicts are happening within the... Wait, what was it called? I think we can see it here on the... Okay, we have yet another fight here. Display... Siberian-Soviet War. It doesn't say that here, but they probably use some kind of casus belli on like a reunification of Russia. Damn, I wish I remembered what exactly it said. Well, we'll see it soon enough once someone else declares war on something. Siberian Black Army is currently decimating the Principality of Kemerovo. I'm still kind of happy about the fact that Vorkuta Correctional Labor Camp managed to defeat their opponent. I don't know if they increased their army size or anything. No, they didn't. Okay, but you know, it's still a fine piece of lore. We have the Divine Mandate of Siberia, Irkutsk growing, so is the Siberian Black Army that we mentioned previously. October, I believe, also grew. So we'll see. We'll just see if there is going to be something like a contender state to our Gross Germanisches Reich, which is going to be ready for any challenge coming our way. Or at least so I can hope. Because I'm not really sure what's going to happen next. I don't know how bad the Civil War is going to be. I don't know how bad the challenges to us are going to be. I don't know if we're going to have a new focus tree or something, because right now we are pretty much done with the story. And we need to wait for some kind of aftermath. But it's good, you know. Everyone else is moderate in strength and we are overpowering, which should put us in a really good position at the start. But we'll see. We'll see. Oh, and we're not doing anything here. Anti-guerrilla warfare. Okay, let's start with that. Kind of interesting that we haven't gotten the third agent. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 12. So this is the 13th upgrade. Military coup in Taiwan. Oh, that was to be expected. So, what's going on? So now it's a civilian dictatorship. In the chaos following Grand Marshal Phibun Sokram's death, Shatichai Shohavan has mobilized his forces in a quick seizure of power to claim the presidency for himself. With loyalties established across the civilian administration and military bureaucracies, the new president's men have a firm grip over the rapidly stabilizing situation. Pardon me. President Shatichai's public appearance offer assurances of affluence and prosperity. Interesting. To the public, insisting that security and wealth will return under his leadership. However, his sweet promises are underscored by a shadowy rise in secret police presence across the country, and observers are yet to be sure of the future of Taiwan's domestic security. Well, we'll have to see. We'll have to see what's gonna happen there. And he looked way different on that news. I guess that's a public presentation picture and this is the real one. Well, you never know. You never know what you're gonna get. I also wonder how many of these events are scripted and how many of them are happening sort of randomly. Because, you know, there might be some... I don't know if that one, for example, has a focus tree. It doesn't, so that one is probably scripted, but it would be cool if you could see like different variations on the history. I had an interesting discussion with one of the viewers about the team of the Last Days of Europe actually removing content recently from the game because there was maybe too much chaos, maybe the events were, consistently pitched against each other and creating unrealistic scenarios. He seemed worried about it. I know that this kind of polish happens to a lot of mods, but the way he presented it, it was going way overboard. Iberia announces the creation of the Iberian Council. Today, the Codilos Franco and Salazar joined to announce the creation of the Iberian Council after pausing for a brief while to allow for thunderous applause. The two alternated at intervals to further discuss and justify their new system to the vast crowd attending. Oh, Franco is still alive. According to the two men, the responsibilities and duties of the Iberia are vast, and navigating them has left shambles of their efficiency. What? Navigating has left shambles of their efficiency. In order to preserve their ability to govern, they have had to delegate some of their powers to a separate but very clearly lower council, consisting of appointed officials. The Iberian Council will handle measures regarding the creation of legislature for the Union. However, the two Codilos will still have the final say on anything being proposed. Formally, this will allow the pair to run the other functions of the state more efficiently. A useless organization for a weak state. I do wonder. Oh, they do have... yeah, call an Iberian Council. I like the usage of the different focus trees based on what's going on. So it is, for example, possible that this one is not scripted, and there are a couple of options that this could go. I'm also expecting that based on how the inevitable civil war that you guys keep talking about is going to go, we will have different events and situations happening to us. Oh, we'll see. We'll see. Definitely based on who wins, there should be a different outcome of the war. So we'll see. We'll see. Speaking of which, let's speed it up. How's the research going? We're gonna have infantry weapons improvement 5 ready in 24 days, which is gonna increase motorized infantry and rugged infantry, soft attack and piercing by 5 and 10% respectively. Combat usage has reviewed weapon defects and problem areas that can be rectified by making internal changes to the rifle, which will hopefully fix any reliability issues. And in 16 days, we are going to get the 1964 infantry kit. Motorized infantry recovery rate plus 0.02, defense plus 2% and breakthrough plus 2%. Same for leg infantry. Enables 1964 infantry kit, enemy air support lowered by 2.5%. As a result of the magazines for assault rifles being too short for the universal pouch, a shorter ammo case has been introduced. It is attached to the belt and has a series of straps on both sides for attaching hand grenades. Actually, that reminds me. Divert infantry recruitment, secure deals. Okay, but I wanted to check because are we building or getting some infantry kit? No, this looks like a new type of equipment that we will have to produce. Interesting. Or maybe it's gonna change something? Maybe the support equipment? I'm not sure. Autumn. He lies catatonic on his deathbed. Oh no. Alone, except for his physician seated aside. Outside the room lie 100 million souls in terrible waiting, yet his consciousness is in an empty bliss beyond this world. His wife flashes by him in reverse. He recalls her funeral, how his heart broke, and only his reverence to his motherland remained. The Cathedral of Light during the Victory Parade after the war, the long conquest against Judeo-Bolshevism he mercilessly fought. The world's powers in awe of Germany at the Olympic Games. He struggles to break the old order with blood and steel. The house of his parents where he first dreamed to end all dreams. The stream ends with one final shot of morphine. His worn eyes open from the injection. He looks around as if searching for something. Behind the silver of luminance left in between the curtains, he sees the folks how it bathed in sunlight. He stares at the dome for some time, trying to remember Deutschland, before he hears a whisper, the only voice he ever truly loved. He shifts his gaze, and for a fleeting moment, she is there, her apparition fading. He whispers his last word, a single tear welling in his eyes. Ava? There were no sound for a while, except for the faint susurrating of oak leaves and the chirping of barn swallows. The news of Adolf Hitler's passing came after 1 hour of peace. There would never again be silence for the children of Germania. Farewell, mein Führer. Political power, minus 300. So there isn't anything that we want to do, right? Yeah. Oh, the death of Hitler. Speer ascended the steps with a thudding heart. Brandt had summoned him from Germania with just 4 words. We need to talk. Although he had been too paranoid to say any more. Over the last week, Brandt has ousted a spy among the Berghof staff and uncovered the bugging devices in every room. Whatever the doctor had to say, it was to be in person. Deep down, Speer knew what this meeting would herald. He looked up to see solemn Brandt standing awkwardly at the front door, greeting him with a limp salute. He's dead, Brandt whispered. A wave of emotions washed over Speer. Grief, anger, the ice-cold sense of dread. Brandt said something else, but Speer wasn't listening. He wanted to drift back to the first time he and Hitler had first met. He wanted to reminiscence about the countless hours the two of them had spent planning the Germania project. He wanted to replay the final lucid conversation they had had. Yet this was not the time to be idle. The future awaited, and it demanded a clear mind. The minutes turned into hours. The hours grew into days. Soon the rumors had spread through the Reich. The Führer was dead. The Reich was officially leaderless. Reichsminister, Speer's secretary burst into the room. I've just been informed that the Reichstag met today to discuss Hitler's death. The Emergency Council refused to legally pronounce you as a Führer. They said it was time for mourning, not ceremony. Speer shot to his feet with a curse. His mind was racing faster than ever. Germania had slipped from his grasp. There was no time to lose. War was coming. Extensive preparations have already been made. It was time to fly west. Never sent to know for whom the bell tolls. It tolls for thee. Base stability minus 20%. Hitler has died. The Reich mourns. Okay. Well, I would have expected that there would have been an option, for example, if your influence is 100, to maybe be pronounced as a Führer. That would make a bit more sense. But then again, this would have to be a bit more difficult. We were getting quite a lot of things automatically. Debt to GDP 103%. Nice. At least that's happening. Adolf Hitler has died. Tragedy has consumed Germany as the news spread first throughout the Reich and then the world. Adolf Hitler, Führer of Germany and victor of the Second World War, has died. Whilst the Führer's declining health had been speculated about for some time, the news has nevertheless left Germany in a state of complete shock. The Reichstag has announced that 3 months of mourning shall be held, and that the Führer shall be buried beside his late wife, Eva Hitler, with dignitaries from around the world invited to the funeral. While Germany mourns, internationally, many are celebrating the death of the man held responsible for 3 decades of suffering throughout the world. Yet many international commentators fear what may now become of Germany. The Third Reich having already been embattled in a bitter power struggle over the rightful succession of the Führership. A day to remember. Well, we'll see what's going to happen. No new national focus yet. But Speer flew to the west. A funeral for the Führer. The funeral for Adolf Hitler was possibly the largest and most extravagant in history. Thousands of Germans stood in attendance, with nearly an entire division of soldiers just for the funeral march, not to mention endless flyovers by the Luftwaffe and the constant jockeying for the best spots to show off by over a dozen military units. Even standout figures such as John F. Kennedy and a representative of the Emperor Hirohito were in attendance. Heydrich, Speer, Göring and Bormann were all in attendance, and all gave their words on their leader's passing. Today is a day of mourning. Crisis has struck Germany. We must be strong in the coming days together. For the entire Reich, now is the time for healing. And then they were gone. Not even half an hour after the body was lowered, 4 staff cars and their convoys were speeding off to parts unknown, preparing for plans no doubt only just beginning. That was abrupt. Well, they know what's gonna happen. All we can do now is wait. Adolf Hitler is currently dead. Well, unfortunately, that is the way for all of us. The flock takes flight. Since the death of Adolf Hitler, the Luftwaffe has begun to act awry. The great jetbirds begin to fly without command. Across many areas of the Reich, airfields vacate as seemingly every air wing in the Luftwaffe undertakes a great migration, their destination yet unknown. The strange flocking habits of these Luftwaffe birds is not restricted to just the aircraft. Fallschirmjäger divisions too load up their equipment and personnel into aircraft with an unwarranted haste and soar off to destinations unknown. Luftwaffe personnel seems to be in the midst of an utter abandonment of post countrywide, with only a scarce few commanders planning their contingents firm upon their assigned airfields. As Field Marshal Speidel frantically attempts to officially ascertain the status of the Luftwaffe, motorcades in Germania are seemingly filled with their top brass, leaving their offices for personal reasons, pre-planned leave, or some simply departing Germania with so much as a word to their superiors. Speidel may not have the official status of the dilemma on hand, yet there is no doubt in the minds of any that this is the work of the old Reichsmarschall Göring. His places will soon be in place. Well, Národno-osvoboděnecký pokret Srbije declared war on Ravnogorský pokret. Das Gebiet der Militär-Befehlhabers in Serbia declared war on Ravnogorský pokret. And das Gebiet der... Okay, so there is a civil war in Serbia. I thought they were... Yep, we have allies there. What Serbia, or what was part of it, has descended into chaos. I thought Serbia was one of... I think so, NOP Serbia. Yeah, partisan movement. That's kind of interesting. I would have expected that the statocratic Nazism would be the one that would be allied to us, but no. It's the NOP Serbia. Partisan movement. Well, okay. Serbia is descending into chaos. I wonder what's going to happen to all of the Reich commissariats too, because who are they going to join? Will they descend into chaos? What's going to happen to Madagascar? Heiling the Reich. The Reich sits in a state of confusion now. For the past week, the Reichstag has been at one another's throats over the simple matter of who the citizens of the Reich should heil now that the Führer is dead. While it was always assumed that the next Führer would be saluted, the current chaos and lack of any real planning for this crisis means that the German people have been left in a state of utter confusion as the Reichstag has bickered and the more ideologically minded hailed their chosen candidate for the office. Soldiers hailed the generals on their home cities, citizens hailed workers and the economy, some still hailed Hitler. It seems as if every German had decided on their own special to salute, and nobody liked one another's. By the end of the week, Heil the Reich had become the most agreed upon salute by the people of Germany, but nobody seems particularly enthused about it anymore. Can we agree on nothing? Heil the Reich. Serbian civil war begins. The death of Adolf Hitler had begun to shake up the German order, especially in the Balkans. Reports, though sparse, indicate both communist partisans and Chetniks have risen up to push the German garrison and the puppet collaborator regime out of the country following the assassination of Dmitry Vljocic, its former leader. A hypothetical united front between both groups did not appear, as both communists and Chetniks began firing upon each other. Following the uprising, the German garrison under Karl Goebel began taking over the remaining state apparatus from the collaborators and promised a swift return to order in the country. Still, with the garrison heavily outnumbered in a hostile and foreign land, other observers predict that the rebel victory is just a matter of time. Here, acting strange. So wait, are you being commanded? Alexander Rankovich. No, Karo Gabo, so this guy should be allied with us. Okay, neither one of them is allied with us anymore. Okay, so that was just a bug. Here, acting strange. Across the country, men from the Heer abandoned their posts. Some divisions' roll calls have reported half or sometimes more of their men going away on leave. In a couple instances, entire infantry and panzer divisions have simply disappeared off the map, only to reappear across the country in southern Germany. No explanations can be shaken from the officers and generals of these divisions, since they are either nowhere to be found or hidden away in the black spot of South Germany. To make matters worse, late last night the general staff in Berlin vanished. A convoy of personal cars and military trucks filled with high-ranking officials and their attachments were last seen heading south after picking up the troops at our checkpoints. There is little doubt that they are also heading south. Here messengers run amok in Germania, and formations all across Germany are suddenly leaderless and further disintegrating. From one partially burned letter, an aide managed to dig up, alongside a couple of tapped phone recordings, reveals a common, simple praise from Martin Bormann himself. It is time. Bormann is making his move. Well, we are still having the highest influence. So I don't think we have anything to worry about. New template. Oh, we're producing. Oh, holy hell! The army is gone. Did the Air Force... No, the Air Force is still there, but the army has disappeared. Okay. So the disintegration of Germany continues. Heydrich rises up. As the wave of violence continues throughout Germany, Heydrich has declared himself the rightful Führer of all Germany. This is not news from him. This is not new news from him, but what is the news is the fact that he has called upon his SS to restore order within the country. Forces of the SS based in Alsace-Lothringen, conveniently close to the border with Burgundy and Ostpreußen, his strongest areas of support, have stormed local police stations and administrative buildings with full intent of taking over all of Germany. Thanks to the absolute state of the Reich, however, we can do nothing. It has begun. So he's gonna be here. What's gonna happen here? Reichstag Emergency Council. The Führer has tragically passed, and the Reich was shocked by the news. After all, who could expect such an invincible man to die? Not the Reichstag, apparently. Despite the Führer's clear designation as to who his successor will be, many within the government are up in arms. The reformists, conservatives, hardliners, and fanatics are all at each other's throats, and all pretenses of peaceful and orderly transfer of power has rapidly vanished. As a result, a group of fence-sitters, no-name bureaucrats, and other Reichstag members, too unpopular to be courted by any faction, have banded together to declare themselves the official intermediary executive branch until the new Führer's inauguration, as per a constitution that everyone has collectively ignored for the past 30 years. The main contenders to the Führership have all paid little attention to the Emergency Council, viewing them as benchwarmers at best and insubordinate traitors at worst. The only light side is that their presence has given a shadow of stability in Germania, stopping the city from spiraling into chaos, so that a more competent leader can hopefully take charge. They may have saved Rome from burning, but they are content to fiddle as the rest of the empire goes up in the flames. The Central Siberian Republic has conquered the Principality of Kemerovo. Ah, this is it, the fate of Russia. The struggle for fate of Russia. And so we have growing nations, swallowing the smaller ones, one by one. Oh, the Divine Mandate is now at war with Irkutsk. Spirians rise up. After the recent chaos in Reich, Albert Speer and the divisions loyal to him have begun rebellion in the northwest of Germany. Armed students have taken over government buildings in the area, and student uprisings have been reported throughout the country. Our country now continues to crumble as the first spark of the civil wars have been lit. Speer jetzt! Okay, so this is our area. We can see them being marked. I don't think it's worth building anything at this point. Oh. I even can't. Well, let's just put something there. But we'll see. We'll see. Well, what's going to happen to the economy once this all goes up in flames? Okay, we finished the research of the infantry kit. Which... Okay, so this is probably like the uniform that we should build. Yeah, the infantry kit. Okay. Not gonna manage, but let's start working on the improved motorized equipment. I think everything is gonna be reset eventually. Göring rises up. Do we have it here? Steam locomotive? Nope. As the streets begin to fill with the sound of war and forces loyal to each contender begin armed insurrection, Hermann Göring has called upon his loyal legions to stamp out rebellion within the nation by starting his own. About half of the country, total landmass, have declared themselves loyal to him, and his forces now begin open battles against the loyal militiamen and the rest of the contenders. Okay, so what does that leave? So this entire area has declared independence. So basically I have Bohemia and this area. I think Bormann hasn't yet declared his allegiance, has he? Oh god, look at that. We managed to get a 6.33 billion per single year in savings. That is amazing. Well, too bad it doesn't matter now. Bormann breaks away. The German Reich, once a triumphant victor, has collapsed into outright civil war. This fact was confirmed earlier today as Martin Bormann rather reluctantly ordered the remaining German forces loyal to him to fully break away from the Reich and to begin warfare against the rest of the contenders for the next year. Our eagle has fallen. God hilf uns. So Bohemia and Brandenburg, that means Germania, has become or remained independent. So that's why you can actually secure Berlin. Because it doesn't belong to anyone. Nor does Germania though, on the other hand. They're gonna be probably independent and whoever wins is going to take it. The civil war begins. Here we go. While tensions have been rising between the various factions in the Reich for years, nobody quite expected the explosion of violence that came shortly after the death of Führer. Well, everyone had seen, of course, the politicians scattering to their homes, the military arming themselves and locking down roads, the police taking up their heaviest weapons and barricading their stations, but for an outright civil war? Expected or not, however, the war is here. Military units have focused their attention on Germania, ensuring the capital remains under military control, but elsewhere, the pretenders to the throne of the Reich have armed themselves and fighting has broken out across Germany. Speer, Heydrich, Bormann and Göring. Nobody knows which will win, but all the people of the nation know that dark ages are ahead of them. So yeah, as I expected, Germania will, remain under military control and probably be off limits for the fight. With Germany in collapse and anarchy in the streets, foreign powers have already begun debating what to do. The United States and Japan both have already begun looking into how best to exploit the chaos, and Iberia and Italy have quickly begun militarizing in order to carve out further influence in the chaos. The Reichskommissariats, ostensibly loyal vassals of the Reich, sit in chaos as well, the leaders debating on who to support, or whether or not it is time to begin distancing their realms from the homeland. So what's gonna happen? There will be blood. So let's see. We'll probably get... Okay. The German Civil War. It is thus necessary that the individual should finally come to realize that his own ego is of no importance in comparison with the existence of the nation. Adolf Hitler. It is thus necessary that the individual should finally come to realize that his own ego is of no importance in comparison with the existence of the nation. So it begins. Yeah, everybody has declared war on everyone. The German Civil War. In the wake of Adolf Hitler's death, the Reich has erupted into chaos. Despite the furious appointment of legal successor, powerful factions within the Reich have taken up arms against one another with the interest of leading the nation in their vision. The nation is torn, with entire garrisons ignoring orders from Germania and flocking to the successor of their choice. Though the gravity of the situation is not yet known, it is estimated that the Reich is either facing or already experiencing total collapse of central authority. Though not much is known about the fate of the Reich's eastern administrations, the sudden cessation of contact between Germania and her positions have created speculations on if those regions too will find their fate. What is known for sure, however, is that the collapse of Europe's titan has thrown the continent asunder. The end of Reich, surely. So first of all, I actually want to see Reichskommissariat Ukraine. Okay, they don't get any focuses of their own. Reichskommissariat Moscovian. Okay, I was wondering if they could, for example, choose to do something. Divided the Germanic part. No, that's the event that we had. Okay, so basically these nations are all still allied to Central Germania, which is happening. We are at war as Speer's Germany with Bormann's, Göring's and Heydrich's Germany, each fighting everyone else. Böhmen is led by Lutz Graf Schwerin von Krosigk. Okay, so it is independent, actually. And now let's look at our situation. So we're gonna end the episode. So we have no debt. We have a GDP of 76.45 billion. Yearly deficit of 4.31 billion. Yeah. Army expenditures, naval expenditures, everything is at max. So basically we're gonna incur debt. How many? Okay, 44 production units. That's not bad. So we could throw everything on the military. How is our army doing? That's gonna be the next thing. Actually, no. National focus. Der Bürgerkrieg. Okay. The German Civil War has begun in full. Our leader and the true fear of Germany, Albert Speer, has made a daring escape from Germania and made it west to Essen, where he has set up his base of operations. All of his supporters that could make the trip have traveled to the region, which student protesters and other allies managed to secure before the war kicked off. With the battle lines drawn, full-blown war is about to break out. Okay. And what about our armies? This doesn't look that bad, to be quite honest. We have... I saw it in the war. You have 55 divisions compared to Heydrich's roughly 22. Göring has about 35. And Bormann has yeah, our army is the strongest. So I think that's really based on the influence. And that means that we are doing really good. We are doing really good. Bürgerwehr. Okay, we have a couple of infantry divisions. Okay, so Bürgerwehr is probably like a weaker That's a light infantry. Okay, so that's basic and militia. Then we got infantry divisions, quite a lot of them. We got quite a lot of motorized divisions as well. A lot of panzers. And we even got 4 SS divisions. Actually 5 of them. So I wonder if the SS... It's probably that these SS divisions are the ones that we secured by the deals. Okay. What about Air Force? Do we have any? We do have a lot of fighters, yeah. 96 fighters and some interceptors. Not bad. And Navy. Oh, dang. Okay. So, where the hell are you located? Oh, who's controlling this area, actually? Oh, it's part of Germania proper. Okay. So, between the episodes, I'll have to make sense of this. See how we are doing. I'm gonna take all of the Navy and move it to our ports. I am going to reorganize the army. We'll have to... No, actually, research remains. That's good. That's good. Research is ours. And we have 100% legitimacy. So now we can convert legitimacy into influence. The German Civil War is as much decided in the hearts and minds of the German people as it is on the battlefield. The quest for legitimacy continues, and so does the influence we can exert on areas controlled by the contenders linger. Keeping and controlling them may just be the edge needed to win the battle for the Reich's future. So we can burn some legitimacy for influence. And... okay, so we can take 5 legitimacy for 5 influence, or 10 influence for 5 legitimacy. But the effects actually remain unknown for me. Okay, so I have to figure out also what we're gonna produce, what we need, stuff like that. No divisions in basic training. Yeah, we can finally start training an army. That's good. We have to check what our equipment is like. Well, we do have some equipment, so we might actually start training immediately. Our manpower is actually at 1 million men. It's not bad. But we don't have any army experience to change the template, so we'll have to work on that. Okay, cool. So it is here. It is here. Despite being one of the smallest territories, I think that we have a big chance of winning this due to our big army. So yeah, let's see how we're gonna start in the next episode. Till then, you guys take care.